How did everyone get their nicknames? Let's just start with you. And
We just all when I joined the band, that Joe and Dave Blood, Joe Jack Talcum and Dave Blood, had already been working on songs together, writing songs. Joe was singing, and when I joined, I that band I was in with my friend Mike Narthex had broken up, and I was looking around just to play music with somebody, and I met them at a Christmas party in December of 1982. And they said, "Oh, well, we need a drummer." I said, "Oh, well, I'll come down and jam with you sometime." And the thing about it was is that I walked into the room and we started playing, and they had all these songs already written and ready to go. I mean, they were pretty well rehearsed. And so all it took for me was just to learn the songs. And I think we had our first show in a couple weeks. Um, and they had already Joe had invented the band sort of before it became a real band when he was in high school for a creative music project or creative writing project. um, he came up with sort of a fake band fan club newsletter. He was a member of the Wings fan club when he was a teen, and so he came up with this rock star named Joe Jack Talcum. And he would write weird stories about this for his creative writing class. And then he and his neighbor would write some goofy songs, and they'd record them on a cassette player at the house. And the way Rodney got involved was Rodney's a year younger than Joe and I, and he was at school. He and Joe went to high school together, and he heard about these tapes and he thought they were great. And so he kind of cornered Joe and said, next time you do one of these tapes, I got to get involved. And so Joe said, sure, why not? And so I've been rehearsing with Joe and Dave, and we got this show at the Harleysville Youth Center. In fact, the anniversary is coming up in towards the end of July. Um, and I get to the show, and Joe and Dave walk in with this guy, Rodney, and they say, "This is Rodney. He's the guy who wrote a lot of the lyrics to the songs, and he's going to sing tonight." So I had never met Rodney or heard him sing, and we played the show that night, and that's how it all started right there. I mean, he was great. Rodney was like perfect from the get go.
yeah, his voice really fits in with the lyrics.
For sure.
So that was amazing. So, and from then on, then we rehearsed as a four piece, and that's how we got started.
Why was he anonymous?
Well, let's see, Joe. Yeah, I don't know. They had their names, and it was like when I joined, they said you have to pick a name. And I don't know. I just thought Dean Clean rhymed and it sounded cool, so I said, okay, let's go with Dean Clean. It's easy to say, easy to write.
Perfect.
Rhyming is good.
Rhyming is.
Rhyming.
I mean, yeah, and I can imagine like when you were played on XPN, like they were playing this hard. It was a punk rock show, like a radio show.
Yeah, they're different college DJs would do their own shows, and it was a punk rock oriented show. They would play. I mean, back then in the '80s, it was the heyday of college rock and CMJ magazine and all that stuff. And they was free form. They could play whatever they wanted. So
Yeah, and that's probably why it stuck out. I'm stuck out. I mean, I remember hearing Punk Rock Girl and you name checking Mojo Nixon, and then I'm like, this is a band for me. Like suddenly, like this is my college rock band. They're naming bands and artists that I know.
right.
How did that come together? I mean, Punk Rock Girl, I guess, was that your first? I mean, you had Bitch and Camaro, but then Punk Rock Girl, I kind of actually elevated you guys, I guess.
Yeah, it was a step up in terms of airplay. Yeah, Joe and Dave actually had written that song. They had a little side project called Ornamental Wigwam, which is just the two of them. And I think they had played that song a couple of times. And Joe and Dave brought it to a band practice one day and said, well, we think this would be a good Dead Milkmen song. And so, we started playing it, and it was very popular, and it just took off from there. I mean, we by that time we were on Enigma Records, or I don't know if it was Enigma or Restless at the time. In fact, Mojo Nixon was a label mate of ours. That's the connection. We actually on tour once. We had Thanksgiving dinner with him. So that's how you got name checked, I think. But yeah, that song, we recorded that album in Texas, and everybody, I guess from the record company and our manager said, this is the song. And they were right. It was the song, and we did a video for it, and it got a lot of airplay on MTV at the time, which is kind of strange because they were playing a lot of hair metal bands at the time, and we would slip the Dead Milkmen in once in a while. So, that was good for us. We had some good years in the late 80s touring and stuff. And I mean, we still play that song live, and it's still probably our most popular song.
Did you ever meet Rodney Bingenheimer at KROQ in Los Angeles?
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't think we ever sat down with him, but definitely know of him.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fans in LA and Southern California. In fact, some people used to say, I thought you guys were a Southern California band, but you're from Philadelphia. I don't know. A lot of skaters used to listen to our stuff too. So